Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So I thought I was not actually going to do another OC-Tober based video for a little while longer, but as I was doing kind of like pre-sketching some of the prompts, which is something I like to do for like Inktober in general, because if my main focus is inking that day, to kind of like shorten the amount of time that I need to spend on each drawing, I do like to sketch as many prompts as I can whenever I actually have like a lot more time. So I sketched kind of like in advance, and I got to day 8. So right now it is October 8th. This is midnight. I tend to do a lot of my monthly drawings around like midnight time, so it's like slightly offset, but it kind of works best for me because like it's one of the only times I get like less interruptions throughout the day. So day 8 is supposed to be like a meme redraw, so I'll add the prompt list that I'm following onto the screen if you're interested, but I am not too sure if this counts particularly as a meme, but I've seen somebody do this like long time ago. So if you type into like Google or Pinterest, basically haunted house reaction photos, I believe is what I searched up, and there's like a bunch of these, I guess they're kind of like candid photos of people being shocked from like something happening in a haunted house. There's like a bunch of variety in like a lot of these people's like expressions and stuff, but I thought it'd be fun to do that for the meme redraw instead. So I decided to pick out a pose that only had 3 people. So I'll put the image that I'm referencing to you on the screen, and you guys can kind of see that I decided to choose my OC Akemi, we have Masaki, and we have Kaisen. I did end up changing their expressions a little bit to fit the characters, but I've seen a lot of people who have used these kinds of like reaction photos to do almost like a 1-to-1, but you just like switch up your characters. The person that I saw this like a long time ago did them with One Piece characters, and they look so fun. So I thought I will just take you guys along with drawing or doing the line art for this. I kind of treat, right now at least, the OC-Tober as kind of like my break time for drawing, which is why I like to do them kind of like once midnight rolls over, because it's kind of like a more peaceful time. Like I said, less interruptions, and just, you know, I can just spend time drawing for myself. Make sure that the time-lapse feature is on. I always forget to do that. I never have it on when I'm normally drawing on Clip Studio Paint. But for the sake of keeping track of some of my OC-Tober stuff, I thought it'd be fun to have more time lapses whenever I work on Clip Studio Paint. So I'll make sure to also put the brushes that I'm using in the description down below if you're interested. I'm using this one that has more of like a fuzzier, rough texture to it, and it's been fun to use. So we'll start with Akemi, probably move to Masaki and then move to Kaisen. Also, I'll change the background color to be darker for you guys. You can take it off the blue. This way you guys can see a little bit easier. But I might make a smaller view for myself. So new view, we're gonna pop this out so I can kind of see Akemi over here while I zoom in. I'm trying to stick to like around number 5 for my brush size. So it's kind of on the small side, but we're gonna just see how this works out. I do want to just play around, get comfortable, and see what I like from doing these kind of digital inking sessions. But sometimes I treat these a little bit more with like a sketchier approach, and then other times I'm doing like higher stabilization, very clean lines. It's been a while since I've done like more of a real-time talking video. Or at least I think it has. It's a little bit more chill this way. I've been still doing a lot of like merch grind for the most part, but basically when Saturday's video comes out, which I have not recorded quite yet, that's when Rakukan is going to be. And that's kind of like my last kind of like official obligation that I have. So I'll have more time to actually focus on like little mini projects like I mentioned in Monday's video. I also know that one of my problems when it comes to inking is the fact that I don't put a lot of effort in my sketching if I know I'm gonna do inking, which definitely causes me a lot more problems. But I did try my best to match how I think each of these boys would react in a haunted house situation. So even though like Kaisen's a little bit more prickly, I do think he's a little bit more, what is it called? Faint-hearted with horror? Then Akemi typically is more on the calmer side, but I feel like he still get like startled from jump scares or like loud noises. And then for Masaki, I do think he won't be like super over the top, but he would be more like, you know, doesn't actually scream. I think Kaisen would scream. So out of like all of my OCs, I think only Sato is technically the more like fearless one. Koji might be okay, but he is like a little kid, so he might react the same way where he's a little bit more startled. So I think while we're working on day 8, all of my OCs, or like my main cast of OCs, I guess, have been at least drawn once, I think, other than Koji. I think he's gonna be might be day 10 or day 11. I forget how far I've sketched, but I did give him a very kind of like sad situation, which I wish I didn't do, but I feel like it fits him, at least makes more sense in my brain lore-wise. I think it could be fun to do like a few more doodles at the end. I've been having a lot of fun drawing my OCs more recently because of the OC-Tober, but the haunted house reaction photos are so funny. And because I'm not really like coloring any of these per se, I don't mind if my lines are a little bit more incomplete and kind of like open. I'll extend this all the way down so I can see more of a longer version of Akemi. So far, I do like how Akemi is turning out though. So it's a plus. I think when I was sketching, I kept changing their expressions a lot, other than Kaisen, because I think I was dead set on his. But more so on Akemi and probably Masaki as well. I don't know if I can make it look like he's gripping more. But how's your monthly challenge going? If you are participating in something like a monthly challenge in the month of October, let me know how it's been, because I guess by the time this video comes out, it's been just over a week, depending on what kind of challenge you're doing. Maybe you have 7 drawings done, maybe you have less, maybe you've done way more. I know a lot of people tailor these kinds of monthly drawings very differently. So far, inking this one has been like fun. I don't know if it's because of being able to add a little bit more line weight variation and or details in here. The other ones I kept on more of like the simple side, and maybe that's why, but I really don't want to draw a watch. Dang it, Akemi. I drew one earlier for a different prompt, but I hate what it looks like because I always draw it looking like a coin on top of like a rectangle like this. Also, my stabilization right now is at 18. I think for some other prompts, I made it like up to like 60, 70-ish. If I really wanted like a lot of control, sometimes I do go to 100. And then sometimes when I'm doing like a lot of the quicker strokes, I will will set it to 0, but I think anywhere between like 10 and 20 is a little bit more comfortable for like very loose kind of line work like this. I'm surprised that's not closing. I wasn't really like bothered by not having too many lines that are like closed, like I mentioned, because I'm not really coloring, but sometimes when I'm adding like the values and I'm only using like black and white, sometimes it's a little easier if your lines are closed. Dark color here. Color, I guess, like, because Akemi wears like a very dark, almost like navy blue, black blue, I guess, kind of shirt or turtleneck. I will be adding a little bit of like other shading later. I'm gonna add some now. Hopefully transition it from like the solid black that I have here up until this portion of his turtleneck. Because I always think about whether or not if I did make some sort of comic for my OCs, would it be full color, more like manhwa, webtoon kind of style, or would I go with something that's a little bit more adjacent to traditional comic and manga style? Leave it more monochromatic. Also, anyone who's like a fan of Alien Stage, earlier I was listening to Miti and Ivan's version of Blink Gone. I love it so much. And Ivan's version of All In. It's like they have like their 3rd anniversary song mixes, I think, right? Clematis, but it's like Luca and Hyuna. And then, what is that one song? Ruler of My Heart? But it's like Till's voice actor or singer. And I love Akugetsu. Their voice is like one of my favorites. But I also really like Luca's singer. Wrinkled. Okay, so for his glasses, I don't want to lose the texture of the brush, so I'm just going to use the ellipses tool. Ellipses? To kind of just map out where his glasses would be. Something like that. Let's knock it back. And still on a different layer. Hopefully I can just low-key trace over my lines. Once I have more time, I think I will attempt to do another little mini comic of my OCs again. I'll also have to do a little bit of planning because I would love to do one that has more of like interactions again. So I'm just erasing a little bit where his lens would be, as well as any overlapping lines where his frame is. Did I merge it with the sketch? Dang. There, we can get rid of this. Okay, so we have Akemi. I think I did make his hair a little bit shorter, but it's okay. I think we're good for him. Okay, so after that, I'm gonna quickly throw in Kaisen. His might be a little bit easier. So let's sink more down. So for some parts of Kaisen's, what do I call this? Cardigan-esque howdy? Kind of in between. I might just fill it in with black later, and then hatch a few things. Unlike where I did Akemi, where it has like a smaller amount, just because it's a little bit easier for me to imagine. Where I would raise my stabilization. I think sometimes I make Kaisen more like a boy failure. I promise he's very capable. This is me making him a little bit more silly. So I know I'm gonna be coloring Kaisen's hair also with like a flat black, and then using that dust hatching brush to kind of knock back or bring out some highlights, I guess. But I can't stop thinking about wanting to make like a Selwyn plush, because I really want to do it. I think it's mostly because I saw, I think both on Amazon and Etsy, small like little doll glasses. I might have to measure out how big Masaki and Kaisen are, because I'm going to be following the same template that I used for them. And I feel like the glasses I found are either too small or slightly too large. But I think too large might be a better choice, so I don't have to squish his face. Okay, so I'll work on Masaki next. I think also more recently, whenever I'm like doing line work for eyes, at least, even like when I'm sketching, I try my best not to do like one solid block anymore. I think I like the slightly more like airier look. I was gonna make Masaki's mouth like this. I feel like it looks so cute. But slightly in the spirit of like the actual reference image, I think. The guy's mouth is like more agape. Not like I'm following it like super exact, especially for the expressions. Kaisen has, yeah, he has no brows. It's okay. Doesn't need them. So out of these three, Akemi is the youngest, but he's definitely more chill than the rest of these two. Actually, out of like all of my OCs, I think he's probably the most chill. I don't know if I want to like round his mouth more, or do I want to make it more like square? Like the, I don't know if you guys might have saw like a brief glimpse of it, but I had Masaki and Kaisen swap outfits. Or not outfits, swapped color palettes, which was kind of interesting because I realized how low-key poor Masaki's color palette is, but it works for him because of his outfit, but his color distribution's a little funky. So on Kaisen it looks so strange. But I do want to find a kind of like haunted house reaction photo that would fit Moriko and Sato at least. And then I would love to find one that fits Koji as well, with Masaki probably Kaisen. Masaki, Moriko, Kaisen is another one. Because like I'm adding more like, I guess slightly gray tones for the values, I'm always debating whether or not the way that I want to kind of line the hair. Like, do I want to add a little bit of hatching? Do I want to leave it plain so that it's only the flats that will add in the... I've been so lazy drawing Masaki's sleeves. Sometimes I forget they're like technically supposed to be more like above his elbow. I'll quickly add in the text and then we should be good to go. think... Oh, I didn't do the rest of Masaki's body. I guess because I didn't really sketch it out, but it should be okay. A little wider. Made his, like, the cuff, or what is it called? The turtleneck part of his sweater a little bit, like, shorter and squat. Okay, so I'm gonna hide away my sketch. This is what the boys look like right now. Is have a new layer. I like to actually, how do I want to do this? Fill the background with white, so it might be hard for you guys to see for a little bit. And then I want to select everything basically on the outside portion so that I can invert it and fill. I want to fill with a gray. We'll see. I might fiddle around with the lighting. So maybe I'll put them all into shadow first. The background isn't that dark, so maybe I'll do it like this. Kind of put this portion into shadow. Maybe not super even, but kind of gets it done. I think I do want to pull out the highlights maybe first though. So I'm making the light more or less come from the left side. And I'm just using the G pen to kind of carve out our highlights here. But maybe I'll do the white last so that I can try to figure out some of these darker areas first. Like Kaisen's hair. Also forgot to get rid of this. A little bit of the hatching. I think, yeah, other than that, it's just Kaisen's cardigan that has more of the dark area. I'm not doing like halftones or anything like that. I think because I don't really want to think too much. Masaki's hair color would be similar though, which is the problem. Which I don't like the super dark background. Just gonna see if I can finish off the shadows here. I forgot that Akimi's pants is actually pretty much black. Okay, and then we want a darker line and then make it thinner. I think I've drawn it on every wrong side. Oh well. So I can probably just seal this. There we go. I'm gonna separate it like that. In some areas here. Honestly, not too many areas. It's mostly in like Kaisen's hair and some parts of his clothes, which I can't really see. So I don't mind adding this hatching like this. But I do like this texture quite a bit. It's kind of fun to use for some darker fabric. But after I do a little bit of that hatching brush, I will go in with the black again and kind of just fix up some of these areas. Mine's definitely not as like severe as some other people's. But it does trigger me. Anything for this spooky month, I guess. It's kind of fun. I do want this to have more of that dramatic feeling. I might add suffixes or something, or effects at the very end. Bring a little bit of that light to his face. This is kind of fun though. I didn't add as much shadow here though. So I technically could if I wanted to. So it does read very flat otherwise. But leaving things more like in black and white, focusing more on like the gray tones. There's just something I really like about it. But I don't know would I commit to it for a full, like, comic per se. Could also do the border effect. So many of these brushes have like a very similar texture when it's like blown up. I don't know what kind of sound effect would freak them out. Let's try to make the font look a little bit more distressed. The outline tool is always like very helpful, so I don't have to worry about expanding pixels or anything, even though like that's a very viable way of trying to, what is it called? Do an outline. Let's go like this. Focus on it too much. Kind of like a font. Not because it belongs. It's too thick. Looks a little bit more like a horror. Oh well. This is what I'm gonna end up with for today's little prompt, I guess. This is definitely one of the more fun prompts to do. I guess to kind of finish it off completely though, I do like writing I think that's day 8. One of the more elaborate looking ones, I guess. I think day 7 was pretty... This one was day 7. So kind of like earlier today, technically. I did do it like in the morning, so it's been like well over... I don't even know, 14, 15 hours, I guess. If it's 2 o'clock... Wait, no. Maybe like 16, 17 hours? But this is day 7. This one's day 8. But yeah, before I kind of like let this go on for too long, I think this is the end. I'll definitely put the time lapse at the very end alongside with the sketching version because I believe I kept those kind of separate. But hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will talk to you guys next time on the next video, which will be on Saturday, which I have not planned or recorded, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, bye.